Okay, I'm gonna keep it real with you. This is an entrepreneur rant. Gotta be honest. Sometimes it's amazing to me, no matter what you present to a potential client when it comes to using your brain to get paid for, they're looking for a physical product. And you know what the truth of the matter is? Some of the most successful entrepreneurs in history use this first before they actually sold a physical product in order to make a fortune. So check out the show. Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to today's Startup Junkie. All right. And of course, if you don't know who I am, allow me to introduce myself. I'm AJ, your host of the Startup Junkie. I'm CEO of a little bitty company, a technology stacking company called ThinkGrids. That's ThinkGrids LLC. Just Google us and you'll see what comes up about us. And I've been deep into the entrepreneur game for quite some time. And if you enjoy what I'm sharing with you today, be sure to check us out on all of your social platforms as we live stream on Facebook. We live stream to our Facebook private group. Actually, it's not private. I made it public. It is the Startup Junkie. Look behind me, the startupjunkielive.io. Just search that in Facebook. We're also coming to you live on Periscope/Twitter as well as YouTube. And be sure to check out, if you're into podcasts, be sure to check out our podcast on Apple iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, as well as iHeart Media. And most importantly, please share this content with an entrepreneur or a business owner that you know this information can help. Now, I got to be honest with you. Today's show is very personal to me. Okay, so much so I'm going to play myself a little music in the background while I talk to you because I really need to 100% set the scene on this, okay? All right, so I want you guys to listen to this, all right? So let's look at some of the most impressive companies in history. And today is all about selling your ideas, okay? Selling what's in between your ears. Now, you've known me to share some of my successes. For example, how major institutions will pay me and our company to create course content for them. Also, maybe if you are a private organization, a nonprofit, or say a private prep school, we might take and digitize all of your lessons, right? And, put it in a learning management system, an LMS, just stuff like that. In other words, but it all started from an idea. It all started from an idea on how we can help connect clients to their customer base digitally, right? By stacking technology on top of one another. In other words, the right kind of apps, the right kind of applications, the right kind of code, the right kind of everything, digital asset management to make an idea work. In history, okay, it has been those visionaries, those idea guys that have basically changed the way that we live. Case in point, Netflix. Did you know that the technology that makes Netflix a worldwide sensational streaming application didn't even exist back in the early 90s when the company originated, right? But they stayed with their idea. They stayed with their idea of delivering content. Now, how they deliver that content, it used to be by DVDs, has changed to streaming based on changes in technology, but it was the idea originally, okay? Think about Steve Jobs. You know him as Steve Jobs, right? His idea was just an idea to put a working computer in every home in America and ultimately across the world. The only problem with that was when he came up with the idea, computers literally were the size of a room, an entire room. And I'm not talking about a small room. I'm talking about a huge room. Okay. In fact, some computer mainframes literally covered entire warehouse spaces, right? And you might be saying, well, AJ, why are you sharing this? Why are you bringing this whole idea of selling ideas or putting together concepts in the form of a process in order to create something of value that customers are willing to pay for? All right. Here is the context, and this is why I'm bringing you this today. I often find it troublesome, right? When I try to explain to a potential client, right, that what we're going to do to make your idea work is to take this application and match it with that application and then put another application on top of it to make what you want to do work, right? And so when I share something like that with them, they're like, well, why do I really need you? You need us because technology is democratized. In other words, everyone has access to it, but not everyone has access to fantastic ideas that can be formulated into a strategy to make a concept work. To be honest with you, and if she's watching this, and please share this with her if you are in Houston. I remember seeing an interview with Jolanda Jones, okay? And she was talking about how clients would not want to pay her, right? Say they might be facing some major time for some major criminal offense, but it might take her, with her know-how, maybe 10 minutes to basically, get them free, all right? And because it took only 10 minutes, and it was not a physical product, but it was an idea, it was a concept, it was the fact that she can connect all these different ideas together with theory and knowledge of law to actually free this person or free a person that the people did not want to pay. And that is the very reason why I'm having this show today. Selling an idea that's not a physical product is often the hardest thing to do. All right? However, once you've figured out how to get your potential customer, your potential client to see how that idea would benefit them financially, then ultimately, or basically solve a problem. A lot of times for our clients, it's about generating more revenue, about connecting with their customer base, ultimately generating more revenue, increasing their top line sales, which is revenue, and ultimately the bottom line, which is profit. Then they get the picture. So why am I saying this to you? Why am I bringing the whole concept of selling your ideas and why it's important, and how do you overcome the objection of a brilliant idea? Before I answer that question, I'm going to give you some history. Did you know that in Apple's first year, Steve Jobs, right, with that crazy concept, that crazy idea of taking a huge mainframe computer and condensing it down to something small enough to sit on a desk in someone's home, in their first year, they only made $100,000. Yes, this is Apple. This is the company that has over a $2 trillion market capitalization. In other words, this company is worth about $2 trillion. This company also hoards billions and billions of dollars. This company is cash rich, right? But think about back in the day when they first started, only $100,000 in their first year. But guess what they made in their second year? Their idea caught on, and they made $100 million in their second year. What is that? 10,000% return, or a 10,000% increase, that is? So you go from making 100,000 to 100 million. So how did Stephen Jobs do that? Which brings me back to the point that I'm going to share with you on how to overcome objections when it comes to selling ideas. How you overcome objections when it comes to selling ideas is to simply show how your idea, and in our case, stacking technology applications on top of one another, can solve a customer or a client's problem, no matter what that problem is. Although it is very difficult for many people to see, even after you solve their problem, that if it's not a physical product, by the way, I'm a former marketer, this is product placement, just a side note. If it's not a physical product, then they can't fathom the value or why it's worth anything. Well, I'm telling you, if it addresses the problem and solves an issue or a company or a customer's what they call friction, then selling the idea should be more simple than not. All right? And you might be saying, AJ, can you give us some examples of how something like this works in the real world? Well, our company, ThinkGrids, is a prime example, but let me give you something more on a global scale. I think it started back in the early 30s with two guys, okay? They had this idea of consulting businesses, right? Consulting businesses and telling businesses what they should do to have a more successful business. You know them as McKinsey & Company, right? It's the same thing with Bain Capital. It's the same thing with the Boston Consulting Group. It's the same thing with any of these very, very Deloitte, these very, very high level consulting firms that provide strategy to a customer that solves a problem. It is an idea that they're selling. Again, these are prime examples that selling ideas, as long as they solve the problem of a customer, will ultimately lead to revenue. Now, there's nothing wrong with selling physical products. I gotta be honest. We sell through Amazon automation, FBA, occasionally I sell some products. All I gotta do is pack it up and send it out, I sell it. That's cool. But our core competency, so to speak, is being able to stack technology ideas on top of each other, technology stacking, and it's also being able to come up with processes for businesses that ultimately give them what they want. For example, if a private school wants to take all of their physical content and what teachers are speaking and teaching inside of a course and turn that into a digital course, we can do that. All right, but that's our idea. That's our delivery or our value delivery to customers. So my question to you is, what is your value delivery? What is your idea? What idea are you selling? Once you consider your idea that you're selling, anticipate the objections of your potential customer. And once you anticipate the objections of your potential customer, then come up with solutions on how to overcome those objections. And then ultimately, you will be successful. Sorry, I just had to rant a little bit today because, I had a couple of meetings today with clients and I was trying to explain to them what we did with potential clients, right? Trying to explain to them what we did and why our service is so valuable and why we deserve the quote unquote big bucks. Why we're $1,500 an hour versus, say, some other consultant that only wants to charge them $50 an hour. Sure, go with that consultant. But for us, we know our value. We know the value of our idea. And we overcome objections and we deliver value that solves customers' problems. And so I'm saying to you entrepreneur, you do the same. And you take this message to heart. I appreciate everyone checking out today's show. I'm your host of the Startup Junkie, AJ. Be sure to check out the Startup Junkie Live podcast on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, as well as iHeart Media. In case you missed it, let me just share it with you right here. This is where we are. We're on iTunes, Spotify, iHeart Media, TuneIn, Google Podcasts, and Stitcher. We're all over the place. Look for us, download us, listen, and be sure to join our Facebook private group, which is thestartupjunkie.io. Just search that on Facebook. Again, I keep saying private, but technically it's not private. I made it public because I want people to join with no problems. But ultimately, what I'd like for you to do is to please share this content. All right? So, until tomorrow, everyone, where we will be sharing something of value. What the topic will be, I'm not 100% sure, but let me tell you this. It will be relevant. Take care, y'all. Take care.